So you want to do better in living for God, but where do you start? What are a few simple steps that you can take to get your life back on track and living a more godly lifestyle? For this week's discussion, let's talk about how each individual has a unique relationship with God, and that there is no such thing as one size fits all for drawing closer to Him. My name is Jared Smith, and this is the Branch Talks. So for the next few minutes, I hope you'll join me as we discuss Christian living. Each of us has a story, a personal narrative that shapes our relationship with God. And just like fingerprints, there are no two relationships that are the same. Psalms 139 and 14 celebrates these differences when it says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. This individuality extends to our spiritual lives as well. Each walk with God is unique in how we interact with Him. See, I was born and raised in church. And honestly, my entire life, I don't think I've ever spent more than 2 weeks away from going or attending a service somewhere. But to any parents listening, you know you have to approach each kid uniquely based upon their needs and personality. Sure, we have blanket rules in our home, but because the differences around our children are so varying, we have to treat each individual kid uniquely. So it is with our Heavenly Father and how He deals with us. There are blanket rules for our lives, things like the 10 Commandments and all the moral laws that the Bible gives us. But I'm not going to talk about those today because I feel like those need a little bit more personal conversation. Because as with all things internet, I feel like most people would just interpret what I was trying to say as if you didn't know me or maybe you didn't like me, that it was coming from some place of hostility or judgment, and that's not what I'm trying to do today. Drawing closer to God is not a once-in-a-lifetime event. It is a daily pursuit. Consider Moses. If he would have stopped building the ark after decades of hard work, would he and his family still been saved when the floods came? Like any relationship, our walk with God takes time, energy, and commitment. James 4 and 8 promises, draw near to God and He will draw near to you. The things that God is ultimately going to be convicting you about are going to be a result of you trying to draw closer to Him. And honestly, those things are going to be the things that get in the way of you drawing closer to Him. It's a really difficult concept to embrace, especially for new Christians. But honestly, it's easier than most people realize. For example, a minister friend of mine was telling a story about when he first came to God and a service that happened shortly after. He said he was sitting there and the pastor was preaching a message about the dangers of sin and how the sins in your life could separate you and distance you from God and ultimately send you to hell. And as he was a recovering addict and was just getting into church, he remembers sitting there and looking around thinking, well, I'm doing great. There's nothing wrong. I haven't been on drugs in weeks. But the thing that stood out to him the most were the ones that were around him, the ones that had been in church for years and by his standard were very moral and upright individuals. And he said he just remembered them screaming and crying out and just so repentant in their hearts because of all the things in their life that weren't right with God. And my minister friend couldn't understand why the churchgoers that were sitting next to him were weeping and crying and praying for forgiveness. But the further your relationship goes with God, the more you're going to realize that we are so undeserving of His love and His mercy. Being sensitive to how God is shaping your life is a sign of spiritual maturity. What is He showing you today that He wasn't showing you yesterday? How can you start removing those things from your life in order to draw closer to Him? It can be anything. A lot of us want to just focus on the moral laws, but there are so many other things that are unique to you that could potentially separate you from God's love if you're not careful. The individual convictions that God has placed in your life are just that. They're personal convictions that God is trying to show you because He knows you better than you know yourself. And those things are going to be the things that will ultimately lead you further away from God than you ever thought or realized would be possible. It's ultimately about seeing His lessons in our losses and His direction in our detours. Psalms 3 and 5 tells us to lean not to our own understanding, but to trust in God. The Holy Ghost is the light of these convictions, pointing out our weaknesses in the darkness. Look, let me put it this way. I'm not talking about anything in particular, but I am talking about the thing that you're thinking about. The convictions that God is constantly tugging at your heart about, the thing that is coming across your mind right now, those are the things that God is wanting you to start finding ways to let go of so that you can take another step towards Him. That's where you are. That's your spiritual season. And where you are today is hopefully not going to be where you are tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. We have to constantly be moving closer to God each and every day. Because once you conquer this thing, then God is going to challenge you with something else. And it's honestly the beauty of a relationship with God, that He is leading you and He is interacting with you every single day, placing things in your life that are ultimately going to make you a better person, that are going to improve your relationship at home and with your family and on your job and in your school. It's honestly the best life coach you've ever had. But while the spiritual journey is personal, I cannot stress the importance of not making that journey alone. It's so important to connect with a church family that you feel comfortable with. Because while we work to develop a closer walk with God, we're going to have mistakes and we're going to have mess ups. And it's so important to surround yourself with people that you can share not only in the victories with, but also with the defeats and the mistakes. Listen to the convictions that God has placed in your life today and start thinking of ways to remove the unnecessary excess from your life. And find a church in your area that you can connect with, people that you can meet face to face and walk through life together with. Because your relationship with God is a marathon. And you've got to run the race to win, but you're going to need support and you're going to need help in order to run it. So thank you for joining me today. As always, if you're in the Greenville area and you're looking for a church that you can connect with, we encourage you to visit us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. You can check us out online at the Gville Branch. That's THEGVL branch.com. I hope you all have a great week and God bless.